Yo, what is up guys? Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So, there's a monster in the super flyweight division. Junto Nakatani on the undercard of Devin Haney versus Vasily Lomachenko became a two-weight world champion by knocking out Andrew Maloney in the 12th round, in which was in brutal fashion. It's certainly already a knockout of the year contender. Andrew Maloney was down and in a bad way, his legs were twitching. It was a beautifully set up knockout, and yeah, we really saw the best of Junto Nakatani in that moment. And overall, I felt he performed very well against Andrew Maloney, who is a decent fighter, you know, top 10 level in the super flyweight division. He's a solid fighter. But, you know, Junto Nakatani really had no trouble in dissecting him, dropping him multiple times, well, dropping him 2 times before eventually stopping him in the 12th rounds. Junto Nakatani is a guy who I've been aware of for quite some time. Of course, he was the former WBO flyweight world champion, but at flyweight he couldn't really get the biggest fights, but nevertheless he was pretty dominant in his short reign as WBO flyweight champion. And I've always liked what I've seen from Junto Nakatani. He first came on my radar when he fought Milan Melindo, and I believe that was in 2018-2019, and he really destroyed Melindo, who is a tough guy. At the time he was past his best, but I was impressed with the way Junto Nakatani took care of him. And ever since then I've been quite high on him. Junto Nakatani, first and foremost, is a very tall, wiry fighter for the flyweight and super flyweight divisions. He is listed as 5'7.5", 67-inch reach, so he's tall and long. Of course he's a southpaw, and technically he is really well put together. I like the way he moves, I like the way he gauges distance. He has a really educated lead hand, which he uses to set up his offense, set up power shots from both hands. Got a great jab. As I said, his understanding of distance really impresses me. And what really impresses me as well, when he's boxing from the outside, he's got a really good habit of, and again, this comes down to distance control, but he really does a good job of catching guys at the end of his straight punches. He's really good at catching guys when he's fully extending his shots from range. But not only that, he can mix it up a bit as well. He can shorten his punches. He's got a really mean uppercut, as we saw against Andrew Maloney. He was dropped once by an uppercut in that fight. Can work the body as well, really astutely. And yeah, he's just a technically really well put together fighter with good height and reach, good size, really good power. He's got good punch technique. He turns his shots over really well, doesn't waste much, doesn't throw punches for the sake of throwing punches. And I like how he changes things up as well. You know, he'll give you different looks, he'll give you different propositions to solve. And we saw that in the Andrew Maloney fight with a knockout. The setup was beautiful, was simple but beautiful. You know, it was just a quick level change where I'm assuming that Andrew Maloney thought that Junto Nakatani was going to lead with a jab to the body. So he kind of throws a throwaway jab first to like the chest, then he ducks down. It looks like he's going to throw a jab to the body, but he then comes back up top with an overhand left. He walks Andrew Maloney right into it, and again, one of the best knockouts I've seen this year. Really destructive performance by Junto Nakatani. And for me, Junto Nakatani is a fighter who is really worth getting excited about. I think he's got a fan-friendly style. He's technically proficient. He's big for the weight class as well, let's not forget that. And when you look at the super flyweight division, I think this guy can do a lot of damage right now. I would love to see a fight between Junto and his fellow countryman, Kazuto Ioka. Quite frankly, I rate Ioka extremely highly, but Ioka's not getting any younger, whereas Junto Nakatani is 25 years old. He's in his prime, or maybe not even in his prime yet. He may even get better. I would make Junto Nakatani a favourite over Kazuto Ioka. I'd love to see that fight in Japan. Or at least the winner of Ioka versus Joshua Franco, which I believe is going down soon. I may be wrong on that. There are other fights though for Junto Nakatani at super flyweight. Roman Gonzalez is still an active fighter. I know Roman Gonzalez didn't get the decision in his last fight. Many felt he beat Estrada. I would love to see Junto Nakatani versus Roman Gonzalez. I think that would be a great fight. Again, I know some people are going to say I'm overhyping Junto Nakatani, but I would make Junto Nakatani a favourite over Gonzalez at this point in time. And quite frankly, same goes for Juan Francisco Estrada. Again, another excellent fight, or an excellent potential fight, I should say. That would be an amazing bout, but once again, I think I'd favour Junto Nakatani over Juan Francisco Estrada. Don't get it twisted, I'm not saying he dog walks these guys or has an easy time, but when I look at Nakatani, when I look at his age, when I look at the scope for improvements, the power, the size, the length, etc., when I look at that, I would have a hard time putting anybody as a favourite over Junto Nakatani at super flyweight. Maybe this hype, maybe you guys think I'm hyping him up. Maybe I am, who knows, but I'm very impressed with what I see from Nakatani, I really am. I enjoyed his display against Andrew Maloney, who again is not the greatest fighter in the world, but he's a tough guy, He's had close fights with Joshua Franco, so he's just in and around that kind of just about top 10 level in the division. We saw how Franco dealt with Andrew Maloney on multiple occasions. Junto destroyed this guy. And yeah, I believe Nakatani is a very talented fighter. A fighter in which I'm expecting big things from in the next 2 to 3 to 4 years. I'm talking about unification fights at super flyweight, then going up to bantamweight to maybe win more world titles. I think his ceiling is that high. I really do. I know his last performance, the performance before Andrew Maloney, wasn't great against Francisco Rodriguez. But for me, he got the job done in that fight. He got the job done. I think he more than likely overlooked Rodriguez, who also gave Kazuto Ioka a really hard fight as well, by the way. So Rodriguez is no scrub, put it that way. But yeah, I'm expecting big things from Junto Nakatani, and I was pleased that he secured such a showcase knockout on that card. It was a card that had a lot of attention. So hopefully now he can build on that and really chase for these big fights, these big unification fights. But anyway, what are your thoughts on Junto Nakatani? I'm sure many of you guys, this may have been the first time that you've seen him. Share your thoughts below. Beanie Guy Delboy, peace.